Gillian slammed through the front door, dropped her coat on the nearest chair, and tossed an everything pizza on the counter. She felt hungry and excited to get started on her house search. She grabbed a beer out of the fridge and flipped open her laptop. The first two realtors had nothing that she liked, even a little. That changed when she was scrolling through Dreams Come True Realty. Gillian gasped. There it was. Her dream home, her Terra. A small black and white picture showed a large white house with white columns and a wraparound porch. Instead of photos or video, there were descriptions of each floor of the house, one for the main floor and the other two respectively for the upstairs and the furnished basement. Gillian hadn't thought about a furnished basement. Nice. Built in 1962, this southern-style home with a double-corner lot and a separate two-car garage will fulfill a growing family's needs. 4,800 square feet for the remarkable price of $90,000 without inspection. What? Gillian exclaimed. What's wrong with it? She scanned the rest of the information. 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, fully furnished, screened-in back porch. You gotta be kidding me. The next paragraph explained the low price. Former owner was a hoarder, and we are unable to enter residence currently. For an extra $3,000, present owner will have everything removed from the property. Gillian searched for a phone number, which was under the picture of a suntanned, blonde-haired surfer type. Well, Samuel Harmon, I am about to make your day. The phone call was short, and when she hung up, Gillian had an appointment with Samuel Harmon after her work tomorrow. They were to meet at her house. She already called it hers because she had wanted a house like this forever. I can't believe my good luck. This had to be sent from God. Babe, Gillian formed the words in her head because she knew exactly what Wheeler would say to her if he were here. Babe, be reasonable. What could you possibly do with a house that size? Use your common sense. Why didn't you use your common sense, Wheeler Hall? You are the last person who should be scolding me about common sense. She realized she was screaming to an empty room, and tears were dripping on the keyboard. It felt good, darn good, so she continued. Next to you, this is the one thing I've always wanted. I lived in this glass box of a condo and hated it, but I knew you loved it, so I never said a word. But now, for the first time, I can do what I want. I can live in the house I deserve. Yes, you heard me right, deserve. Except for the 10 years with you, my life has been pitiful. I put up with so much. Even you don't know the whole story. I was ashamed to tell you. What will I do? I'll fix it up, of course. I'll pound and hammer and pull up carpets. What I can't do, I'll pay to have done, and I'll love every single minute of it. So there. If you wanted a say in my life, you should have behaved yourself and waited for backup, she screamed. What's wrong with me? Gillian whimpered, screaming at someone who's not here? A dead man? She sat back and reached for the pizza box, but it sure felt good. At that moment, she heard a pounding on the door, and her elderly neighbors, Gladys and Stanley Crump, were calling to her through the front door. Gillian, are you okay? Do you need 911? Are you dead? Asked Gladys. That was a dumb question, Gladys. How can she answer if she's dead? Boomed Stanley's voice on the other side of the door. I, whimpered Gladys, I'm so nervous. At that moment, Gillian swung open the door, exposing a red-faced Stanley, about to pound on the door again, with a tiny white-faced Gladys clinging to the sleeve of his sweater as they stood before her in their night clothes. Oh, good, you're not dead, exclaimed Gladys. No, I'm not dead. I'm so sorry to have worried you, apologized Gillian. Come in, don't stand in the cool night air. I was just screaming at my dead husband. Oh, sweetheart, Gladys murmured as she clamped her body to Gillian's in a bear hug. Gladys's head barely reaching Gillian's waist. I know exactly what you mean. When my first husband, Ernie, died, I screamed at him too. I was so mad that he had left me with 2 small children to raise. One day I threw a plate at the wall. You know, Stanley, one of the blue plates with leaves and flowers. Anyway, one of the boys hadn't eaten his mashed potatoes, and the plate stuck to the wallpaper a second before dropping to the floor. And the best thing is that the plate never broke. Gladys, stop rambling. No one cares about the blue plate, mumbled Stanley. Gillian glanced over at Stanley. He looked like he wanted to be in the hug too, but wasn't sure if it was appropriate. He was shuffling his feet and crossing and recrossing his arms. Gillian held out an arm towards Stanley, and he shuffled over and was included in the hug. Gillian couldn't believe she was in a group hug with 2 elderly people she hardly ever spoke to, clinging to her waist. But it felt good, so good to know others understood and cared. They clung together for a moment longer, then drifted apart. I know things look rough now, honey, said Gladys, but someday God will place in your path someone as wonderful as my Stanley. Gillian glanced at the wizened little man with white tufts of hair protruding from behind his ears and thought, I sure hope not. Until she saw the adoring look coming from Stanley's eyes that enveloped Gladys. That was true love. I don't know if I could be as lucky as you, Gillian smiled, meaning every word with all her heart. Gladys beamed. I was looking for a new place, confided Gillian. I'm going to move. Gladys looked shocked and for once was silent. I can see where you might feel lost rattling around in this big old house, exclaimed Stanley. It isn't that, it's just that everything screams Wheeler. But Wheeler's not here. She moved a little way away, expecting another death grip from Gladys. Instead, Gladys reached out and was stroking Stanley's hand. I'm sorry to be leaving you, she said, and for the first time really felt remorse at leaving. But I need to get on with my life without Wheeler. Of course you do, dearie, whispered Stanley as Gladys stood nearby and clung to his hand. This doesn't mean that we're not going to see each other, uttered Gillian. Besides, I have to sell this house. Noticing Stanley trying to stifle a yawn, she playfully pushed the couple toward the door. You two better head for home. It's getting late.